The glow of James Whitmore's phone lit up the darkened living room. He had been staring at the screen for several minutes, unable to process the words written in the message. "I'm staying at Craig's tonight. Don't wait up." The text was casual, almost dismissive, as though his wife of 6 years hadn't just shattered his world with 10 careless words. James's hands trembled. He read it again and again, hoping that somehow he had misread the sender, that maybe it was a mistake, a wrong number, anything but the truth staring back at him. But no, it was from her, from Anna, his wife, and Craig wasn't just anyone. Craig was James's colleague, a man who had smiled in his face, shaken his hand, shared beers with him after work. A man who knew James trusted him. The betrayal hit harder than anything James had ever experienced. His chest felt tight, as though someone had pressed a weight down on him, making it difficult to breathe. He glanced around the quiet home he had built with Anna. The framed wedding photo on the wall mocked him. Her smile, her hand entwined with his, the promise of forever. They were all lies. His phone buzzed again. "Another message. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. We'll talk tomorrow. She was planning to sit across from him, look into his broken eyes, and casually explain why she had chosen another man. James stood slowly, his body numb. For a moment he thought about calling her, demanding answers, begging for an explanation. But no, his pride screamed louder than his pain. He would not beg. He would not plead. If she wanted Craig, she could have him, but James would not go quietly into the night. The memories came flooding back as James wandered into the kitchen, opening a bottle of whiskey he had been saving for his anniversary. He poured himself a glass, the amber liquid shaking slightly in the tumbler as his hand trembled. The first sip burned, but it grounded him. He thought back to the sacrifices he had made for Anna. The late nights, the second job, the dreams put on hold just so she could pursue hers. And this was how she repaid him, by sneaking off to Craig. As the night stretched on, anger slowly replaced his grief. He began pacing the living room, his mind turning over every possible outcome. Should he confront her at Craig's place? Should he storm over there now, expose their betrayal to the world? No. That would give them too much satisfaction. James wasn't going to be the broken man in this story. No, he was going to be the one who rewrote the ending. By the time dawn's first light crept through the blinds, James had a plan. It was brutal, final, and it would ensure that Anna and Craig would never forget the day they betrayed him. And as he sipped the last of the whiskey, he whispered to himself, "You chose this, Anna. Now, you'll live with the consequences." The next morning, Anna returned home. James was at the kitchen table sipping coffee, his face unreadable. She walked in casually, as though nothing had happened. Her hair was slightly disheveled, and she smelled faintly of Craig's cologne. James noticed every detail, though he kept his eyes fixed on the newspaper in front of him. "Morning," she said lightly. Placing her purse on the counter, James looked up slowly, offering a small smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Morning," Anna blinked, clearly expecting confrontation. Instead, she was met with eerie calmness. She pulled out a chair and sat across from him. "Listen, James, we need to talk." James folded the newspaper neatly, placing it on the table. "We will, but not now. You've had a long night. Why don't you rest first?" The softness in his tone unsettled her. It was not the anger or heartbreak she had braced for. "James, Anna," he interrupted gently. "We'll talk later." "I promise." Something about his composure sent a shiver down her spine, but she nodded, retreating upstairs. While Anna rested, James set his plan into motion. First, he called his lawyer. Over the years, James had quietly built a safety net Anna knew nothing about. Investments, accounts, even property under his name. She thought she had married a struggling man who poured every penny into their shared life. In truth, James had been strategic, careful, always planning for the future. And now that future no longer included Anna. He instructed his lawyer to begin immediate divorce proceedings, citing infidelity. He wanted everything documented, airtight, undeniable. Next, he reached out to Craig's company board. Unlike Anna, Craig's colleagues held James in high regard. They trusted him. They respected him, and they had no idea that Craig had been betraying not just his friend, but his professional responsibilities as well, because James knew things that could end Craig's career in an instant. by the time Anna woke up that afternoon. James had already set the wheels in motion. She found him in the backyard, trimming the hedges like it was any ordinary Saturday. "James, we really need to talk," she said firmly. He set down the clippers and turned to her, his expression calm but unreadable. "Okay," he said. "Let's talk." Anna crossed her arms. "I'm not going to lie to you. I've been seeing Craig. I didn't mean for it to happen, but it did. I care about him." James nodded slowly. "I see. That doesn't mean I don't care about you, James," she added quickly. I need something different, something more exciting. You've always been safe, dependable, but Craig makes me feel alive." James studied her carefully. Every word was a dagger, but he refused to let her see the wound. "So you've decided," he said quietly. Anna hesitated. "I don't know yet. I need time." James gave a small, cold smile. "Take all the time you need." And with that, he walked past her, heading inside. Anna stood frozen in the yard, confused. She had expected a fight, tears, maybe even begging. But instead, James was composed, almost detached, and deep down she knew this wasn't over, not by a long shot. The following week, Anna noticed James was acting different. He wasn't angry, he wasn't distant, he was present. Too present. He started cooking dinner, keeping the house spotless, even asking her about her day. Anna began to relax, assuming maybe he had decided to look the other way. That perhaps after years of routine, James didn't have the fight in him anymore. But behind his calm demeanor, James was pulling strings. One evening, he invited Craig and Anna to dinner. Anna's eyes widened when he suggested it. "James, are you sure?" James smiled. "Of course. If Craig is important to you, then I'd like to know him better. We've been colleagues for years, but I want to understand what you see in him." Anna hesitated, but Craig, cocky and confident, agreed eagerly. He thought he had won. That night, as they sat around the dinner table, James poured wine, his voice smooth, his smile disarming. "To new beginnings," James toasted. Raising his glass, Craig grinned, clinking glasses. "To new beginnings." Anna forced a smile, though her nerves buzzed beneath the surface. The dinner was filled with small talk, laughter even, but James's eyes never left Craig. They were calm, calculating, almost predatory. After dessert, James leaned back in his chair. "Craig, there's something I'd like to show you. Business-related. Anna, could you give us a moment?" Anna frowned. "What is it?" "Just a proposal," James said smoothly. "Something for the company. You wouldn't be interested." Reluctantly, Anna left the room. James leaned forward, locking eyes with Craig. "I know." Craig blinked. "Know what?" "I know about you and Anna." For a moment, Craig's smirk faltered, but then he shrugged. "Look, James, things happen. You and Anna drifted apart. She needed more, and I—" "Save it," James cut in sharply. "You think you've won. You think you've taken everything from me. But what you don't realize," he paused, a cold smile spreading across his face, "is that you've stepped into a trap." Craig's smirk disappeared completely. James slid a folder across the table. Inside were documents, emails, and financial records, evidence of Craig's embezzlement at the company. Craig's face went pale. "Where did you—" "I've known for months," James said. "I was willing to let it go as long as you stayed in line. But then you decided to touch my wife." Craig's mouth opened, but no words came out. "You're finished," James whispered. "By Monday morning, the board will have everything. Your career, your reputation, it's all gone." Craig's hands shook. "You wouldn't." James leaned closer. "I already have." When Anna returned, both men were silent. Craig excused himself quickly, leaving her confused. "James, what was that about?" she asked. "Business," James said simply, clearing the table. But as Anna watched Craig hurry away, she felt a knot in her stomach. Something told her the game had changed, and she no longer knew the rules. The fallout was swift. By Monday, Craig's name was mud. The board confronted him with undeniable evidence of his crimes. Within hours, he was stripped of his position, escorted out of the building, and blacklisted in the industry. Word spread fast. His career was over, his reputation destroyed, and Anna? She was caught in the blast. She tried calling Craig, but he ignored her. Tried visiting him, but he slammed the door in her face. Without his power, his charm had evaporated. He was nothing more than a disgraced man with no future. Anna returned home, shaken. "James, what did you do?" she demanded. James looked at her calmly. "I removed a problem. You ruined him," she cried. James's eyes darkened. "He ruined himself. I just helped the truth along." Anna's voice trembled. "Why are you so calm about this? Don't you care?" James stepped closer, his gaze piercing. "Oh, I care. But not in the way you think. You see, Anna, this isn't about Craig. This is about you." Her breath caught. "Me?" "Yes," James said. "Because while Craig loses his career, you're about to lose everything else." He handed her a manila envelope. Inside were divorce papers. Attached were photographs, screenshots of texts, and even the message she had sent the night she stayed at Craig's. "I made sure the court would see the truth," James said. "Infidelity, betrayal. You'll get nothing. Not the house, not the savings, not even a cent of alimony." Anna's hands shook as she flipped through the documents. "James, please." "Don't do this. We can work it out." James laughed bitterly. "Work it out? After you crawled into another man's bed and told me not to wait up?" "No, Anna, this marriage is over." Her eyes filled with tears. "I made a mistake. I was lonely. James cut her off. "You weren't lonely. You were greedy. And now you'll live with the consequences." The divorce was swift and brutal. James's lawyer dismantled Anna in court. Every detail of her affair was laid bare. She was humiliated, left with nothing but the clothes on her back. Meanwhile, James thrived. His reputation at work soared after Craig's downfall. Colleagues rallied around him, offering support and respect. For the first time in years, James felt truly free. Anna, however, spiraled. She moved into a small apartment, struggled to find work, and spent her nights alone. Craig wanted nothing to do with her. Her friends drifted away, unwilling to be associated with scandal. One night, months later, she appeared at James's doorstep, tears streaming down her face. "Please, James," she whispered. "I made a mistake. Take me back. I'll do anything." James looked at her for a long moment, then shook his head slowly. "You made your choice," he said softly, "and so did I." He closed the door, leaving her standing in the cold. As James poured himself a glass of wine that night, he felt no sorrow, no regret. Anna had betrayed him. Craig had underestimated him. But in the end, James had the final word, and it was brutal and final.